right, so here's 1.4, number 3C. I've done number 3A already, and there's the solution for 3A over here. We're going to use this sum formula here to determine, and again the question says what is the sum of the first n terms, so the nth sum formula, for each geometric series described. Express your answers as exact values in fraction form. So we're not going to round things to decimals, we're going to leave them in fraction form. So notice that the formula here is set up in fraction form, right? I'm going to have a value or an expression here and then another value and expression in the denominator. So it's kind of already set up as a fraction. So we're just going to plug in our values and we're going to do some math and combine terms and try to leave it in fraction form. That's what exact values means, fraction form, okay? So for A, it was a whole number, which is technically fraction form. That's not a rounded decimal approximation, that's exact. So for C, it looks like this. So the sum of the first n terms, whatever that's going to be, comprises of T1, which is 1 over 256. So we have a fraction inside a fraction. So that's where we're going to have to do our tricky math here, but no big deal. So R is -4. So let's make sure we put that in brackets because we need to make sure that negative is included there, to the power of 10. All right, and then that's going to be -1 there, over R, which is -4 minus 1. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to have to do some simplifying here. Well, what's -4 to the power of 10? What's -4 to the power of 10? Well, we'll get on our calculator here, and we'll say, I'm going to use the brackets just to make sure we get that negative in there. -4 to the power of 10. It'll be a pretty big number. We can copy that down, it's no big deal. So 104,8576. So 104,8576 minus 1, and this is going to be times 1 over 256, and that's going to be our numerator, and this is going to be -5 on the bottom, okay? So I just need to simplify this now, and even though this looks a bit tricky, this is nothing new for you. Let's just take one bit at a time. Remember, BEDMAS says we're going to do the brackets first, so let's simplify this subtraction in the brackets. It's going to make that easier. So this is going to be 1 over 256 times 104,8575, all over -5, okay? Now, okay, so this 1 over 256 times this number can be written as this, 104,8575 over 256, okay? When you divide by a number, you can write that number as a fraction, and it's like dividing by a fraction. So you have a fraction divided by another fraction, which if you flip and multiply that, right, then that's the same as dividing by a fraction. You flip and multiply. So when you have a number, a fraction divided by another number, you basically write that number in the denominator as a multiplier to what's already down there. So you just flip and multiply, okay? So again, these are little rules that you'll pick up and you'll have to practice here, but basically what's 256 times -5, and you can do that on your calculator. 256 times 5, and that's going to be 1280. So we have to have a negative in there. So the sum is going to be negative. I'm going to put that negative out in front. 104,8575 divided by, what was that number again? 1280. Okay. 1280. Now, there's a good chance we're going to be able to simplify this. Those are big numbers. So however you want to do that on your calculator, I would suggest that you go 104 and just try and express that as a simplified fraction on your calculator, however you want to do that. 75 divided by 1280, and of course it's going to be negative. So we've got 819.199. You may be able to convert that to a fraction on your calculator. I would encourage you to do that. And it looks like it can't, oh yeah, it can be simplified a bit. Okay, so so we're going to have negative 209,715 over 256. So there's our sum in exact terms. You don't want to write that as a decimal. You want to write that as a simplified fraction. That should be the sum, and I'll just double check my work there. All right, so yeah, everything looks good there. So that is 3A and 3C. exact values, fraction 4.